Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Radio Strong Style. Radio Strong Style is a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan podcast. This is a podcast for New Japan Pro Wrestling fans by New Japan Pro Wrestling fans. I am your host, Disco Stu Suzuki, and on tonight's episode, we will go over all the news coming out of New Japan over the last week, as well as get you caught up on all the action that happened over the final two nights of the Best of the Super Junior 25 tournament. And then we will wrap up by looking forward to the full card that has been announced for Dominion. But before we begin, I must now introduce to you my co-host, broadcasting from parts unknown. You may recognize him as the Gerber baby from years 1983 to 1984. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Tiger Mask. Tony, how are things at the palatial Tiger Mask estate?
They are absolutely wonderful. Stu, how the hell are you on this fine evening? I'm fired up after watching these great semifinals and finals and excited for this card coming up here. So let's get into it.
Yeah, it was a great, very hot two nights of wrestling that we got to end the Best of the Super Juniors 25 tournament. And we got a ton of action to talk about and a lot of news. All right, we're up on iTunes now, so please rate, review, subscribe, and give us 5 stars if you could be so kind. If you give us a 5-star review, we will read it on the air, and I will pour up a drink for you and give you a strong style toast. Today's 5-star review comes to us from AG264810, who wrote, "Some good brothers talking about the king of sports, can't beat it." Thank you so much, AG264810. I'm going to pour a little Larceny bourbon out for you. It's a 92 proof bourbon. I highly recommend it if you can find it at your local store. So AG264810, we salute you. This strong style toast is for you. Thanks. That's nice. It's real nice. So let's get into the news. And the first item today, Tomoaki Honma announced his return at the Best of the Super Junior block finals 15 months after suffering a cervical vertebrae injury. Honma announced he will be returning on June 23rd during the New Japan Kizuna Road Tour. Tony, how'd you feel about seeing Honma again?
I thought it was great to see him come back, man. That injury that he suffered was nasty, and you hate to see guys go out like that. So for him to be back, ready to rock and roll, was good. I hope he comes back, a little bit safer style, that big headbutt, to the outside off the top maybe is a little unnecessary. But, I hope he comes back. He was always entertaining, so I'm glad to see him back, and I hope he comes back with a little safer style and can, keep on putting on great matches. So glad to see him coming back.
Yeah, Honma's a crowd favorite. He was a favorite of mine. He did, his neck was broken basically on a hanging DDT during, I believe it was just a house show. But due to his style of so many headbutts, especially the Kokeshi style headbutt, where you basically just make your whole body stiff and you just tip over until your head smacks your opponent or the ground. And with Honma, it usually was the ground. He was paralyzed from like the neck down. So this is like a miraculous recovery. I mean, he's lucky to be alive. He's very lucky to be up and walking around, and the fact that they've cleared him to come back to the ring is just amazing, and I can't wait to see him again. Anyway, so now we will move on to the next news item. Impact Wrestling has announced that Taiji Ishimori, the Bone Soldier, will be appearing on Impact's Slammiversary pay-per-view July 22nd in Toronto. This is very huge for Impact Wrestling. Taiji Ishimori previously had appeared on Impact while he was, I believe, I don't know if he was still under Noah or if it was after he left Noah, but he appeared on Impact before he went to New Japan Pro Wrestling. But this is big because it's branded. Like it's the lion mark is there, and they're calling him like Bullet Club's, Taiji Ishimori. So this is huge for Impact. Tony, are you keeping up with Impact at all? How's this strike you?
I just keep up with Impact through the headlines and whatever. I don't watch the show anymore or anything like that. But if it means that New Japan guys are going to be, if this means, is opening the door for New Japan guys to be coming over to Impact, man, to see them interact with that roster, in front of American fans is going to be cool, and is definitely going to raise Impact's profile with the new creative with Scott Moore and Don Callis over there. So maybe Don Callis is pulling some strings and working some deals and making some introductions, and maybe something will be happening. So we'll see where it goes. It's definitely an interesting development.
Yeah, it was very interesting. So, yeah, Don Callis, the color English announcer for New Japan Pro Wrestling, is like one of the heads of creative for Impact. So he's definitely been trying to make this happen. So this is huge news for Impact, and good for them. It's the beginnings of a working relationship between Impact and New Japan. So it can only be good for the fans. So if you're an Impact fan, this is good, very good news. And we'll move on to the next item. Fire Pro Wrestling World announced that they will debut on PlayStation 4 August 28th. If you pre-order the game, you will receive a NJPW Almanac. We don't know exactly what's going to be in the Almanac. I think it's just a booklet telling you just about the wrestlers, like their moves and, their kind of storyline stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of the Fire Pro Wrestling because it has that weird, breathing mechanic. Like, you actually have to press a button during the match to make sure your guy doesn't get gassed, basically. I don't know. Have you ever tried any Fire Pro Wrestling, Tony?
Never have, and I'm not much big on video games these days anyway. So, but I mean, it's cool. I like to see, it means their exposure's out there when they're getting video game deals and things like that. So I think that's cool for New Japan to have that out there. So, I mean, I would check it out.
Yeah, and some people, they don't even play the game because the games, you can customize it endlessly. Like, you can make other wrestlers, you can make the entire WWE roster in this game if you felt like it. Not like a fake one. Like, it would look like the real WWE roster if you did it right. And then you can just set up cards, basically be the booker and just hit auto, and then the computer, you could just sit there and watch. You could book a pay-per-view and just watch it if you felt like it.
A lot of people enjoy these games. I know, so it's cool. I think it's cool that New Japan's officially tied in there, that you can have access to those, the characters and those wrestlers and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
And it's cool. If you get the pre-order, get the little bonus almanac. So that's awesome. But that moves us into the next item, also video game related. Kenny Omega was on his Instagram, just a picture of him looking out a window, maybe at the Tokyo Dome Hotel or something. I don't know. But he's wearing a shirt, and it's obviously a new Bullet Club shirt that hasn't been announced yet. And it's basically a Bullet Club with Pac-Man shirt. So a collab shirt between Bullet Club and Pac-Man. And NJPW has had a relationship with Namco, because Namco does Tekken, and they've done all the Bullet Club and NJPW stuff in Tekken. So now there's going to be looks like it's going to be a cool old school Pac-Man Bullet Club shirt, and the Pac-Man looks like those old school 8-bit graphics like you would see back in the day in the arcade of Pac-Man. But you're just seeing just the side of it basically. So I can't wait to actually see what this shirt's going to look like. They'll probably debut it at Dominion, I assume. All right, and the next piece of news we have on July 6th. This is before the G1 special in San Francisco. New Japan Pro Wrestling is going to hold a press conference. So this is one day before the G1 special happens, and the press conference will be followed by a meet and greet with some of the star wrestlers. But the press conference will be free of charge, with priority being given to the media. And I believe they're saying that the meet and greet is going to happen on Treasure Island. And Treasure Island is an island in between Oakland and San Francisco. So it's you take the Bay Bridge and it leads to an island, and then the bridge continues on to San Francisco. So it's kind of a weird place to have this meet and greet. But, at least the dedicated fans who can find it and get there early enough can get in and meet some of the star wrestlers. So that's going to be pretty cool. In other news, the Wrestling Observer reports that Minoru Suzuki and Makoto Ishihara are working on a August 31st benefit show for Yoshihiro Takayama called Takayamania Empire. The show will stream live on Abema TV. The main event will be Suzuki and Nosawa and Mazada versus Taiyo Kia and Kaz Hayashi and Takamichi Noku, with Naomichi Marufuji, Takao Omori, and Sanshiro Takagi also announced.
You're my hero for getting all those fucking names out there, dude. Oh shit!
I was riding the line on that one. All right, so
that was a good one.
All right, and the next note we have is the CEO New Japan show Kenny Omega is promoting has announced that Tetsuya Naito, Hiromu Takahashi, Kota Ibushi, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Jeff Cobb will be on the show. More will be announced after Dominion. Omega will also be facing Austin Creed, who, if you're a fan of WWE, you will know as Xavier Woods. They're going to be doing a Street Fighter showdown. They have a Street Fighter grudge match, so they're going to have a Street Fighter 5 match that'll be shown on CEO. So that should be fun. They have done a Street Fighter grudge match at prior CEOs between Omega and Xavier Woods. So, yeah, if you're in the Florida area or if you're big into fighting games, that's definitely something to check out. And our last news item, Access TV, the exclusive U.S. broadcast home for New Japan Pro Wrestling, is giving away 2 pairs of floor tickets to the G1 special in San Francisco. If you go to AXS.TV, that's the Access TV website, you can go find out all about the giveaway and sign up for it, and hopefully score yourself some cool seats to that show. That wraps up the news. Okay, so let's get into the Best of the Super Juniors 25 action. We'll start with June 3rd. This was the semifinals night. This is the finals of block activity for both the A block and the B block. This was at Korakuen Hall in Tokyo. We had Kevin Kelly and Chase Owens on commentary, and Django doing the translations for when the Japanese wrestlers were talking. Start off with match 1. So this night it was all block matches. There was no undercard. And so we'll start off. It was match 1, A block action. ACH defeats Tiger Mask in 8 minutes, 27 seconds with a schoolboy pin. ACH came out wearing a Tiger Mask. And if you were paying attention before, ACH actually played Tiger the Dark when Kota Ibushi was playing Tiger Mask W, and they had a match at one of these past Wrestle Kingdoms. So they kind of danced around that on commentary. They didn't come out and say he was Tiger the Dark. But also ACH has said that Tiger Mask is one of his favorite wrestlers, so this is actually a very big deal for him to face Tiger Mask, in a match, and he was doing it as a sign of respect. During the match, I thought it was a pretty good match. I thought all these matches this whole night were pretty good. You had a really hot crowd. ACH, he had earlier in the tournament, he had done a chop spot where he hit the ring post. They did that spot again, and ACH just in general was delivering really hard chops this whole tournament. He continued to do so on this night. And at the end, ACH wins, and they also have sportsmanship spot. They're shaking each other's hands. They're doing kind of deep bows to each other at the end of the match. Anything jump out to you in this match, Tony?
This was just a lot of good solid work in this match. It was real hard hitting. The respect at the end between the two. I just thought it was neither of these guys were gonna win, so it was just a good solid match to go out there, and the respect at the end between the two was nice to see. And I thought it was cool for ACH to get to win, and Tiger Mask had a really good showing in this tournament, so no slight on him.
Yeah, that's when you get into this final night, you already know there's only about 4 or 5 people who can actually advance to the finals. ACH wasn't winning, Tiger Mask wasn't winning. It's about Tiger Mask trying to get that last, both guys trying to get that last win. ACH is a newer guy trying to get over. Tiger Mask is the old veteran trying to prove that he can still go. And I think they both proved that they could go really hard. ACH was over with the crowd. I really enjoyed it. But this match left both competitors at 3 wins, 4 losses, with 6 points apiece. So we will move on to match 2. This was also A block action, and that had Kanemaru defeating Bushi in 9 minutes, 24 seconds with the deep impact for the pin. And this match, real hot start. Bushi just goes like right after Kanemaru.
Yeah, good. Give that fool a taste of his own medicine. Get him, Bushi. Get in that fool's ass.
But it was really awesome because, Kanemaru had got knocked to the outside, and then Bushi goes, to bounce off the ropes and do a tope, suicida dive on to the outside. But at the last second, Kanemaru moves out of the way, and he grabs young lion Oka, pulls him in the way. So Oka took the whole hit, and Oka was basically dragged out of there. I thought that was fun. And then basically at the end of the match, what happened was Bushi goes for the MX, but he basically jumps right into the Suntory surprise, the whiskey mist in the face. Then you had a ref bump, so the ref was out of the way. And then Kanemaru hits the deep impact. 1, 2, 3. Kanemaru's your winner.
Lame.
I was looking for Bushi to do better, so in my pick'em, I wanted Bushi to win this, but I dig the whiskey uncle, man. As a whiskey man myself, I enjoy Kanemaru. I don't know why.
Kindred spirits.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably my
kindred
age
spirits.
Too. Yeah. So this match, I mean, was there anything you wanted to add on this one, Tony?
They just really, Kevin Kelly, because I watched all these matches with the English commentary. Kevin Kelly was really playing up the LIJ versus Suzuki Gun, and these guys hating each other. So they were going back and forth. It just made me kind of remember those old faction warfare days of the Monday Night Wars and all that, where everybody was in a group and all the groups brawled and had heat and everything. So it kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
97 WWF, the what I call the number games era. When every other line out of JR was the number game.
Yeah.
Anyway, so at the end of this match, again, both competitors, 3 wins, 4 losses, 6 points apiece. Kanemaru gets the win. I thought it should have been Bushi, but that's why you carry a bottle of whiskey around with you. So we'll move on to match 3. So now this goes to B block action, and this had Taguchi defeating Chris Sabin, 10 minutes 56 seconds, with the move he calls Oh My and Gar ankle, which is an ankle lock, which we'll talk about in a second. So ankle lock for the tap out. So Taguchi calls this move Oh My and Gar ankle, and he's had gear like T-shirts and other items you can buy with the words to say "Oh My" and Garfunkel. I don't know. This is inscrutable to me. I've looked around, tried to figure out why it says this. Maybe it's sometimes with these Japanese catchphrases, it's because a word sounds like another word. Because certain words, the way you say them, like the inflection, it means like 2 different things. So maybe it's just because it sounds like ankle or something. Or maybe what I really like to think is that Apollo 55, his tag team with Prince Devitt, who's now Finn Balor in WWE, was like Simon and Garfunkel, but Taguchi was the Garfunkel. So now he's got Garfunkel stuff on his gear. I don't know. But anyway, Taguchi wins with the ankle lock. I will note this was a hot crowd, and I thought that really helped. There was a couple of nights earlier in the tournament where they were kind of out in somewhere, it wasn't Tokyo, and you had a kind of a quiet crowd. It wasn't really getting into it. This crowd was really into it. I mean, you actually had a "Let's Go Sabin" chant, that was noticeable. They started out technical back and forth. So as I noted earlier, we did have Chase Owens on the English commentary, and he was delivering some hot one-liners during the night. And the referee of the match was Tiger Hattori. He's kind of an older gentleman, and Chase got a line in at Tiger's expense. The line, of course, was I heard when Hattori started refereeing, the Dead Sea was just sick. I don't know. It popped me. I was probably the only person in the whole world who got popped by that line.
Kevin Kelly had a good line about there was a rolling armbar spot and Taguchi was rolling around about Taguchi having the combination to that lock or something like that as he was rolling through, and that one popped me. So there was some good lines on commentary here.
Yeah, and then the match goes on. We had from Taguchi, he hit the ankle lock, then he went into the Dodon, back into the ankle lock, and that ended with Sabin tapping from the ankle lock, and Taguchi gets the win. I mean, anything else you want to add on this one, Tony?
Just all about. I'm just all about Taguchi right here, man. This guy has really, turned my head in this tournament, and I actually didn't know that he was in the finals against Ospreay a couple years ago. Like, I hadn't seen that match, so I was impressed by that. I saw it in the video package at the beginning, and he can go, man. He's my fitness goals.
That's the thing is he's normally 80% of the year he's in his mid card comedy spot, and then when the best of the Super Juniors tournament rolls around, then he remembers he can wrestle and he actually puts in some good matches. And I wish he would do it all the time, but he's over with the comedy stuff, and that's way easier on the body. Like just smacking somebody with your butt cheek, that's a lot easier than doing like what Dragon Lee's doing.
He's my fitness goals, man. If I can look as good as Taguchi one day, I'm doing all right. He's got little traps, and his arms are kind of there. Yeah. So
I could only look as good as like Fat Masa from being the Elite. So this leaves both competitors with 3 wins, 4 losses for 6 points apiece. And we will now move on to match 4. This is also B block action. This had El Desperado defeating Dragon Lee in 12 minutes, 18 seconds with a schoolboy pin. This match was hot. I think Desperado has really stepped up in this tournament. Dragon Lee is just pure fire. I mean, I don't know. Dragon Lee is one of my favorite wrestlers now, especially after this tournament. I love him in CMLL, but seeing him actually in New Japan is just thrills me every time he's there. Dragon Lee comes out. He's got a Shibata shirt. He's got the Shibata towel. Apparently, Shibata actually gave him the towel. And Desperado disrespects the Shibata towel, and that's a bad move. Dragon Lee, he's been fast this whole tournament, just kind of kinetically very fast in every match. But this match, when the towel got disrespected, Dragon Lee started out at warp speed. I mean, he just blasted Desperado. It was awesome. And Dragon Lee got the upper hand. Desperado was begging off like 1980s Ric Flair, like his life was in peril. And then they get to the outside. Desperado, of course, what's Desperado always going to do? Grab a chair. When in doubt, chair shot it out. And then so Desperado's working over Dragon Lee's knee, and then he goes after the mask. And you'll see this a lot in Lucha Libre over in like CMLL. They'll actually rip at the eye holes, and that's when because they'll get color where they blade job and they start bleeding. But the only way to do that is actually rip the mask so you see the blood coming out. So he goes after the mask and rips a little bit. He
ripped it more than a little bit. He ripped it a lot. He damn near unmasked him in this match.
Well, this one, so Desperado, Dragon Lee's mask got ripped. But later on in the match, Dragon Lee goes after Desperado's mask, and he completely ripped that mask off.
Yeah.
So later on in the match, so we'll just move to it right now. So later on in the match, Dragon Lee goes to return the favor. He starts ripping at Desperado's eye hole, and then that hole, I mean, his entire head was exposed to the point where Desperado had to start grabbing his hair. So he wears makeup, like black eye, like makeup around his eyes and his mouth. And so he's kind of got makeup on his face, and he just pulled all his hair over his face. And it was an expert move. I mean, his face, even though his entire head was exposed, you never really saw his face. So you wouldn't be able to go, oh yeah, that's the guy. I saw his face. I mean, he did a real good job of protecting the face, even though that mask was completely off.
Mask wrestling's always cool because it just adds that extra layer of depth to the story of the match or the overall character, with the whole tearing of the match and of the mask and going after it. And, it's clearly going to lead to something here down the road. So that's always a cool aspect when, lucha guys are involved in a match.
Yeah. So this one, basically what happens at the end is Desperado gets a nut shot, and then he rolls up Dragon Lee for the schoolboy. And yeah, I thought it was great. Like I said, I thought Desperado really, really stepped up in this tournament. Dragon Lee is one of the best luchadors on the planet. And so the end of this match, again, both competitors, 3 wins, 4 losses, 6 points apiece. It's weird how that works out for the first 4 matches. But now we get the big surprise. And music starts playing, and Hanma comes out after the match is over. And he comes into the ring, and he announces he's going to return on June 23rd in his hometown of Yamagata. And, it was just so awesome in the moment to see Hanma come out, and it was very emotional because, yeah, like I said, he's a favorite. Like we discussed earlier, he's a favorite, and it's just great to see him coming back. But we will move on now, and this will be match 5, A block action. Will Ospreay defeats Flip Gordon in 19 minutes, 36 seconds with the Stormbreaker for the pin. So if you watch WWE, specifically NXT, Ricochet used to wrestle on New Japan, and he's gone over to, and Lucha Underground, and he's gone over to WWE. There's a spot that happened, I believe a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, where Ricochet and Velveteen Dream are going to have a match. So Ricochet just runs and does a flip out of the ring and lands on his feet, like right in front of Velveteen Dream. And it's really impressive looking just to see somebody kind of do that flip and land like right on their feet. Like, cause any normal person, like their ankles and their knees would just explode, but he does it, lands perfectly. So you had both Ospreay and Flip Gordon basically do the same thing. They both were flipped to the outside and landed on their feet in I thought it was in probably as a response. So yeah, they're doing it as like, hey, we could do this too. Like you can flip out and land on your feet from the ring down to the floor, and they did the same thing too. So that was pretty cool. Anything really jumping out in this match to you, Tony?
Flip and Ospreay have a very similar body type. Like they're long and lean, but they're not exceptionally tall. So I don't know if that helps them like get around for these moves or be able to, like almost like that. Swimmers have a certain style. A swimmer style body doesn't help you in powerlifting, and a powerlifter's body isn't going to help you swim. That Ospreay, Flip Gordon body style kind of maybe lends itself to these type of moves because they were doing a lot of. This was a good match, and especially for Flip here, man. I mean, Ospreay's the champion; he's established, but Flip's really shown some resiliency in a lot of these matches and got to show some toughness. And I thought that here was really good, and there was just too many good flippy stuff combinations to really mention. But that flip to the outside you mentioned was good, and Ospreay had some big stakes in this match, man, because if he won this match, that puts him in the lead. So,
yeah.
Well, I mean, he got the win. He got the win in this match. They had the big stakes. He had to do that to block, to get up there and hope that, Ishimori lost his match. So There were some big stakes in this match for Ospreay.
I will say what I noticed. We were talking about the crowd noise, about the crowd being hot for the show, and I think this helped a lot. As we talked about in earlier episodes during the shows with the deader crowds, that Ospreay is just screaming all the time, and it's just really noticeable. But I think it's more noticeable because you got the dead crowd, and like here the crowd's super hot, so maybe that helps it. It's not as bad. You got that really hot Kirk and Hall crowd, and then Flip showed a lot of fire. I mean, Flip did really, really well in this match. The crowd was super hot. I think the very end, Ospreay hits a top rope Oz cutter, and then he goes right into the Stormbreaker. He gets the pin, 1, 2, 3, and then they shake hands. That little sportsmanship spot at the end. Real hot match, and yeah, and so like you said, Ospreay wins, and so he had the opportunity to go to the finals, provided the right people lost. So he put himself in a position to win. So it had stakes. The crowd was hot, and the crowd is really into Ospreay. It seems like the Japanese, he's gotten super over. He's basically like the junior version of like kind of Shibata, the way they're pushing him. So I thought it was a great match. basically, to be honest, this entire like semifinal show was just super hot matches. It was great. So this match leaves Flip Gordon at 3 wins, 4 losses for 6 points, and it leaves Will Ospreay with 5 wins, 2 losses for 10 points. Now we'll move on to match 6. This is A block action. And this is the A block, basically the A block finals. This is the last A block match we're going to have. Taiji Ishimori defeats Yo in 14 minutes, 55 seconds with the crossface for the tap out. So during this match, Ospreay, even though he just wrestled, Ospreay comes out and grabs a chair and basically just sits there to kind of watch the match. Maybe he's trying to get into Ishimori's head. I thought maybe they're teasing that he's going to interfere so Ishimori doesn't win or something. But he basically just kind of sat there. And you actually heard him, speaking of Ospreay screaming, he screamed more in this match, I think, than he did in his own match. Ishimori hits the golden triangle. I noticed that he did Kota Ibushi's golden triangle to the outside.
And Ishimori, he runs fast when he goes to talk, man. He did that real quick, man. He moves around pretty quick in there.
Yeah, so basically Ishimori, this pretty good match. I think both opponents acquitted themselves well, and Ishimori gets the tap out with the crossface. I mean, anything else you want to add on this one, Tony?
There was a cool that fireman's carry cartwheel spot that Ishimori does. This was really cool, and there was a big reaction. Yo snatched Ishimori by the hair at one point, and there was a huge gasp spot. Everybody, how dare he? Which was really cool. And I just thought there was a really great showings from the new arrivals and the youngsters in this tournament. They've all done really good. Yo, Ishimori coming in, Flip. They've all done really, really well. So this was another awesome match.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. And this leaves us at the end of this match, Yo with 3 wins, 4 losses, 6 points. Ishimori wins the A block, 5 wins, 2 losses for 10 points. So now we know Ishimori is going to be in the final. That brings us to match 7, B block action. Sho defeats Marty Scurll in 20 minutes, 39 seconds with the shock arrow for the pin. We had Sho going for a shock arrow. Didn't quite get it. Ended up doing a sit-out pile driver. I thought was awesome. Marty hit the finger spot. You had Marty come in with the umbrella, but Sho caught the umbrella and he threw it out of the ring. Sho goes for the shock arrow again, but now that he's got the broken fingers, it's preventing him from hitting the shock arrow. There was a good spot where Sho was on like Marty's back, and then Marty climbs to the top turnbuckle, and then Marty falls back to the mat with Sho on his back, and then both guys are like kind of down. And then towards the end of the match, Marty had Sho trapped, and he's delivering like these like trapped elbows. And I thought the ref should have called it, because if that happens in an MMA fight, that's it. If you're trapped and the dude's dropping elbows, and you can't fight out of it, that should be the end of the match. But the Sho fights out of it, and Sho hits the shock arrow. So you got Sho wins this one. What did you think of this match, Tony?
I thought this was a really good match. Marty Scurll's a good technical wrestler. He can really tie people in knots. He's not quite Zack Sabre Jr. level, but he's pretty dang good. Sho has some really good dead eye selling in this match. Took some big moves from Scurll and just kind of had that dead eye look in his eye that I really liked. And he had a really good roar and a fire up the forearm trade. Scurll was beating him, and he would roar every time. And I was like, dang, man, that was nice. It caught me excited, noticeably dang, all right. But there was a head stomp. Sho did his little arrow taunt, and Marty started stomping on his head. That looked pretty bad. And I thought that elbow spot, I didn't think the referee should have stopped it like you did, but I thought it was a really good spot. It showed a lot of aggression from Marty, and it looked, he was doing a good job. He was taking care of him in there too. But I wish there was some good reversal and counter spots, and I just wish that more times in matches the reversal and counters would finish the match, because otherwise what's the point of them? There has to be that element of surprise that, he reversed it and got the I know near falls and things like that, but still, I wish they would finish the match sometimes. And Show's finish is just awesome. We've said it before throughout this. Yeah. It's really good. So this was a good showing from Show. I thought he was awesome. And I've been pro Yo the whole tournament, but Show's grown on me, man, and I'm starting to come around on him. So that's good.
Yeah, I think both of them did well in the tournament, but I definitely think Show had a star-making performance in this entire tournament and in this match. So at the end of this match, Show finishes with 3 wins, 4 losses, 6 points. Marty finishes with 4 wins, 3 losses for 8 points. That brings us to match 8. This was the B block finals. Had Hiromu Takahashi defeating Kushida in 24 minutes and 15 seconds with his triangle choke he calls D for the tap out. Tony, what jumped out to you in this match?
This was the time bomb versus the time splitter. And I just want to take a moment of appreciation for Hiromu's gear because it's phenomenal every time he comes out. It's amazing. So this was just a phenomenal match, man. I can't say enough good things about it. The action was it was amazing. These guys are great. But another thing that jumped out to me here is that, it's really a matter of speed is what separates these type of junior matches from your typical modern day WWE cruiserweight type matches. I feel like you see a lot of this type of junior action on the independents in America, and it's really focused on here in this type of tournament. But in, WWE with the cruiserweights, they have a lot of high profile guys over there too, but they don't, I feel like they slow them down on purpose, and it takes away from what these guys are really good at and what really makes them shine is the speed. And it's really on display in a match like this. These guys were going full tilt the whole time. Interesting in a match also that started with a 5-minute collar and elbow tie-up. So,
yeah. So I would say, this is a great match. The crowd was super hot. The crowd, Hiromu was one of the most over guys in the company. Kushida's, the junior ace. This was just 2 crowd favorites going at it. The crowd just was all there for this. This is main event. Everyone was hot on it. You had this great forearm trading spot in the center of the ring where they're kneeling. And then you had basically Hiromu hitting a double underhook pile driver and then locked onto the D, and Kushida tapped out. Kushida finishes with 4 wins, 3 losses for 8 points. Hiromu wins the B block with 5 wins, 2 losses for a total of 10 points. And that sets up our final Taiji Ishimori versus Hiromu Takahashi. To me, this night, the semifinal night of the finals of the block action, probably the best night of the entire tournament. Because every match meant something. Every match was a tournament match. The crowd was super hot, and this was just a great show. I thought Chase Owens, a little cheesy, but I thought he did all right on the commentary, and having Kevin Kelly back doing English commentary. I just thought this entire show. This show was one of my favorite ones of the tournament. And that takes us into the final night. So this was June 4th at Korakuen Hall. Best of the Super Juniors 25 finals. And we'll get right into it. So we'll start with match 1. This was a tag match. Chris Sabin and Flip Gordon defeat Tiger Mask and Shota Umino in 6 minutes and 32 seconds with the 4 flippy splash. Basically, Flip Gordon hit the 4 flippy splash on Shota Umino, got the pin. Kind of a filler match. It was just cool to, these guys are basically taking a lap like, hey, you had a good tournament. And, I don't know. Did you have anything at all for this one, Tony?
I just thought it was funny. Kevin Kelly extolling the virtues of the 6 months of MMA training that Flip Gordon apparently has in a match where he's standing on his head and doing like the leg dance and all that. And he's talking about his extensive MMA training. And I'm like, maybe this isn't the appropriate time to bring that up.
Yeah, when Flip starts doing that stuff, I'm like, man, he missed his calling. He should have been like a break dancer in like the 80s in New York or something. So that match is what it is, and we'll move on to match 2. Match 2 was a 6-man tag. Tomohiro Ishii, Yano Toru, and Yoshihashi, defeating Minoru Suzuki, Takashi Iizuka, and Taka Michinoku in 10 minutes, 1 second with the Schoolboy for the pin. And Tony, do you have something to add?
Hey man, I'm just happy Yano got the win. That's all that I care about, man. I'm glad for Yano.
So this match actually has a lot of history. Yano Toru and Minoru Suzuki have a long-standing feud. It's one of those like never-ending feuds where Yano would get the nut shot roll-up win, and Suzuki would just go ballistic, and they fought for years. It's been years. So basically, this is setting up a match at Dominion, and after the match is over, you get this kind of standoff where Ishii and Minoru are going after it, and then when you get to the backstage part where they give the little interview at the backstage, Minoru Suzuki basically just says, "Hey, Ishii, Yano, come at me. I'm challenging you guys to a match." And so you had some cool spots in this match. Iizuka just bites Ishii's foot. Like, he's got a hold of Ishii's foot, and he's just chomping on it. And Ishii's got to sell it. And then Ishii fights back by biting Iizuka's head. And I'll also make a note for fans out there. Sometimes there seems to be a little bit of a confusion. So Iizuka's name is spelled Iizuka. And when you type that out, sometimes it looks like the first I is a lowercase l. So some people will mistake that and think it's like Lizuka or Lizuka, but it's Iizuka. So it's a weird thing. It also happens with Io Shirai, the female star in Stardom. Some people think her name is Lo Shirai, which is kind of weird because it's not. But anyway, I digress. So during the match, you had Ishii and Suzuki just face off, and you talk about two of the baddest men on the roster, on the planet, just getting into each other's face. Like, to me, this is the irresistible force meets the immovable object. Like, Suzuki's just got this psychotic look in his eye. And Ishii, man, he's a stone pitbull. He don't care. You just throw whatever you got. He's ready for the fight.
He's got no neck. He don't care.
Exactly. Basically, Yano wins with the old classic nut shot schoolboy pin roll up that Yano is known for. And just a fun match. Anytime Yano and Suzuki are in a match together, you kind of know what you're going to get. You're going to get the fury of Minoru Suzuki, and you're going to get Yano doing his best to cheat for a win.
Please give us Suzuki and Ishii as many times as you want.
As many times, yeah.
Just those
I'll take
two, that all day.
That was like a terrifying clash of two wrestlers. But Suzuki, he's getting he's after the match, he's having a face off with Ishii, and the young boys are trying to pull him off, take him to the back, and that never works out for the young boys. The young boys catch the wrath as per usual. So just a fun match, setting up a match for Dominion. This had Hiroki Goto with Roppongi 3K, Yoan Sho defeating Taichi, El Desperado, and Kanemaru in 11 minutes, 44 seconds with the 5-star clutch for the pin. And this 6-man tag is basically just setting up 2 matches at Dominion. You're setting up the junior tag match between Yoan Sho, who actually in the tournament individually beat Desperado and Kanemaru. So they're setting up that junior tag match between those 4. And then you're setting up also to the never open weight belt 3-way match, which is going to have Goto, Taichi, and Michael Elgin. And that's basically what this match, the purpose this match serves. Did you have anything that jumped out to you, Tony?
Just that I hope, Roppongi 3K, they both had, great showings in this tournament and did really well. And I hope it just even though it was singles glory, I hope that it just double invigorates them to come back and kick ass back together, back in the tag team. So that's the only real thing that jumped out to me here.
Yeah. I mean, so you get these kind of matches before big shows. Like you get a lot of these, just 6-man tags, 4, 7-man, 8-man tags, 10-man tags that set up individual matches that are going to be happening in the big show down the line. So we'll move on to match 4, and it was a tag match. This had Yujiro Takahashi, the Tokyo Pimp, and Marty Scurll defeating Hiroshi Tanahashi and Toa Hanare, 6 minutes, 32 seconds, with the Pimp Juice for the pin. So this is just a standard match. There's not much to speak of in the match. Basically, all the action is after the match. After the match, basically, Yujiro hits the Pimp Juice, pins Toa Hanare, and then Yujiro and Marty just start putting the boots to Hanare. And Tanahashi can't, you can't do that to Tanahashi's partner, so he's jumping in there to save Hanare. And while he does that, Marty goes and gets the umbrella, and Marty attacks Tanahashi with the umbrella. And then he locks on the chicken wing to Tanahashi. He's got, and he's just, sinking it in on the mat in the middle of the ring. No one's there to help Tanahashi. Hanare's out from the stomping, and Liger he stood all he could stands, and he can't stands no more. And he comes he's been on commentary. He hasn't wrestled in any of these matches. This is the first Best of the Super Juniors tournament that he's not been in almost 2 decades, I think it is. And Liger just runs in and saves Tanahashi. In the process, rips off his shirt and reveals that Liger is jacked.
Juicing Thunder Liger.
Juicing Thunder Liger. I mean, dude, this dude, for his age and the fact that he's wearing a bodysuit all the time, I mean, he needs to take that shirt off, that bodysuit off, dude, because he is.
What is he? He's 52 or 54, and
jacked, man. He's in his 50s. And apparently, we find out that Liger has been angered by the fact that Marty, during the tournament, has several times tried to do the surfboard, but he never could do it. So he always ended up just doing that double knee stomp out of the surfboard position. So he's mad at that, and then he's mad that they're attacking Tanahashi. So he runs in there to save him, and this is basically setting up a 6-man tag match for Dominion. So Liger gets in there and he runs off the Bullet Club team, and then Marty Scurll's on the outside. Marty Scurll's going, I want all the legends. I want you. I want Tanahashi. I want Rey Mysterio. And basically that's what's going to happen. You're going to have you're going to have Tanahashi, Liger, Rey Mysterio. I mean, I don't know if there's been more star power in one 3-man team, ever. I mean, that's it, man. That's like the biggest team that's ever been assembled. And I believe it's going to be Marty Scurll, Adam Page, and Cody are going to be the Bullet Club team on the other side at Dominion. So, I mean, what did you think of this after the match action, Tony?
I thought it was really cool. I thought it was just, that's the best way to describe it. It was just really cool to see Liger jump up off a commentary and come to Tanahashi's rescue. And I think it's going to be a good use of Rey Mysterio. He wants to come in and put on a show for the New Japan fans. And, he's going to be right there alongside Tanahashi, who's the all-time ace, and Liger, the ultra respected veteran guy and Rey Mysterio is a legend. So I think it's going to be awesome. Really good exposure for Marty and Cody. And, we'll see what it means for maybe All In, because Mysterio is going to be there too. So, lots of consequences coming out of this 6-man tag too.
Yeah. So the thing was, we were supposed to get Liger versus Mysterio at the last Strong Style Evolved, and that didn't happen because Mysterio was injured. But now they're going to be on a team together. So we'll see if we're still going to get that match. But, I mean, yeah, this is a very, very exciting match that's going to be coming up. And this brings us to match 5. This had Tetsuya Naito, Evil, Sanada, and Bushi defeating Kushida, Taguchi, Dragon Lee, and ACH in 8 minutes, 9 seconds. Sanada got the win over ACH with the skull end. This is a really, really fun match. And it's because it was just very apparent that everyone there was just having a great time. When the first team comes out, they come out to Kushida's music, the babyface team. And ACH comes out, and he's following Kushida in, and he's singing lyrics that he's made up for Kushida's theme. So that's just kind of fun as you go in, and then they get in the ring. Everyone gets announced, and then they start playing Naito's theme, the Stardust Genius theme, and then ACH has a dance he's like invented. I don't know if he's invented, but he just starts dancing to the Stardust Genius music, and then the crowd just gets really into it. The crowd's chanting ACH. And then Kushida takes off his, 2015 Doc Brown sunglasses from Back to the Future 2, and he puts them on ACH, and the crowd's just loving it. And then Naito comes, finally gets to the ring, and Naito's like, no, do the dance again. I want to see the dance. So ACH does it again, and then then Naito gets into the ring, and he's like, hey, do it one more time. And ACH gets into the middle of the ring and he goes to do the dance again, and then Naito kicks him in the back. This is just like one of the funnest spots I've seen in a wrestling match in a while. It's just so great to see all the wrestlers playing off each other, playing off the crowd, having just a great time, just kind of improvising the spot. I mean, there's no way that they discussed this before. Like, this is obviously kind of improvised. Like, ACH started dancing, and then they, Naito improvised the whole thing. There's not much consequence of the match. Like I said, you had Sonata beating ACH, but I mean, what did you think of this, Tony?
I just thought it was a lot of fun, man. I was laughing my butt off. So.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. I mean, it was really fun. The Los Ingobernables de Japón team does get the win. And then after that, after the match is over, you get a Chris Jericho video. Pops up, lights go out again, Chris Jericho shows up. And this is looks like Chris Jericho in a hotel room somewhere. And kind of a longer video, not so explicit, like he's not just screaming like fuckface at him. Basically just saying that he's going to make him famous, and that he's going to defeat him. He's going to become the new IWGP champion. And then it ends with Jericho pouring a shot of Grey Goose and toasting, saying "Kampai" to Naito-san. And again, after it's over, Naito's, lights come up, and Naito's been taking a nap in the ring because, anytime the lights go out, he's not getting attacked. He's going to lay down and take a nap.
Well, he specifically mentions how long-winded Chris Jericho is, and how he just goes on, and can't he shorten it up? But I thought the promo from Jericho was great, man. I thought it was excellent. He says he's not going to be Chris Swearico, I guess, has been his online moniker, but he definitely started and ended with the F-bomb for sure. So he made sure to slip him in there.
I like that. Yeah, he said, I'm not Chris Swearico, but at the very end, he goes, "Kampai Naito-san." He's like, fuck face. Like,
yeah, and then at one point, he upgraded him from stupid idiot to fucking moron. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was a great. When I saw that it was Chris Jericho in a hotel room, I thought he's there. Like, I thought he's coming out after this video. It didn't happen, but it was good build up. When you don't have Chris Jericho there all the time, you need these videos to advance the feud.
And Naito said you say you're this worldwide star and you're filming bootleg selfie videos from your hotel room. Like, can't you get a professional video?
When you're on tour with Fozzy, man, you got to get in where you fit in. I can't wait to see their match. I think it's going to be great. This spot was necessary. That'll take us to match 6. This had Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, and Will Ospreay defeat Kota Ibushi and Chase Owens in 13 minutes and 2 seconds, with Okada hitting the Rainmaker on Chase Owens for the pin. And basically, Okada and Ibushi pairing up here is leading up to Okada and Omega at Dominion. This goes exactly the way you thought it would go. I mean, it's just kind of there. I mean, you did get Chase doing the Rainmaker pose, which is just entertaining in how ridiculous it is to see Chase Owens try to do the Rainmaker pose, but Chase eats the Rainmaker in 1, 2, 3. Did you have anything you wanted to add on this one, Tony?
I noticed Okada had a pretty, dive over the top rope, little flashy ass Okada, little dive entrance into the match. And Chris Sabin was on commentary here talking about what good friends he is with Okada, and Oh, I know him from he was in America for a couple of years. I know him, and I said, yeah, you don't dare mention his TNA stint.
Yeah.
But and then there was the Okada doing the V trigger, and before he hit the Rainmaker, he sort of teased doing the V trigger there, kind of send a message to Kenny, and put down Chase. So it was fun. I'm looking forward to Kenny and Okada. So it was a good go home match for that.
Yeah, and I like that it was Ibushi with Okada. People are theorizing what role Ibushi is going to play at Dominion. But anyway, now we move on to the main event. The match we've been building to this entire tournament that we've sat here and watched, this deluge of Super Junior matches we've sat through. Match 7, main event. Hiromu Takahashi defeats Taiji Ishimori, the Bone Soldier. 34 minutes, 9 seconds, a very long match with the time bomb for the pin. This crowd was electric at this point. I mean, this crowd loves Hiromu, and they are willing Hiromu to victory. I mean, you start off with the crowd just chanting Hiromu. You had so throughout the tournament, Hiromu's been teasing the sunset flip power bomb off the apron to the floor, and I think everyone's gotten out of it. I don't think it's been hit, and even at the beginning of this match, Ishimori backflip. The first time Hiromu attempts it, Ishimori backflips to the floor out of the sunset flip power bomb. These guys, of course, this best of the Super Juniors 25. If you're not battling in the crowd, you're not in the best of the Super Juniors 25.
Way into the crowd.
Yeah, they take them back up to that first level where the aisle, and Hiromu hits a floor length running shotgun drop kick because he hates his own back. He hates it.
It was awesome, though. It was a good spot. And then Kevin Kelly was making a good point on commentary to talk about Red Shoes letting the action go beyond the 20 count and letting them have some leniency because this is the final and all of that. So they did a good job to cover their ass explaining why Red Shoes was letting it go, which they didn't do so much in some of these earlier matches. So
yeah, and that's why Kevin Kelly's so good at this, because he's able to explain that, like, this is the match. You can't just be like, oh, count out, you're done, nobody wins. Someone's got to win. But this led to like one of the more spectacular spots in this incredibly spectacular match. Hiromu, they're on the cement aisleway. They're right above the stairs, going down to the floor. And Hiromu teases power bombing Ishimori down the stairs. And Ishimori reverses into a Hurricane Rana, and he Hurricane Ranas Hiromu down an entire flight of stairs. And Hiromu basically just, tumbles down this entire flight of stairs. It looked ugly, man. Like it was a crazy looking spot. I don't know. Hiromu's, if I did this, I'd be in a hospital for a week. I'd be in traction if this happened to me,
Somebody tell these guys it's a work, man.
Yeah. And so this leads to a count-out tease for Hiromu, because it should. Because if you tumble down an entire flight of cement stairs, you should not be able to get back in the ring in 20 seconds. So Hiromu gets back in, and then they end up back outside. They're brawling in the chairs again. And then, okay, let's see. Here's a good spot. Hiromu's tied up in the ropes. He's like hanging in the rope over the top rope and like the second rope. He's just kind of hanging there. And then you get a sliding German suplex from Ishimori. Basically just runs up behind him and like just snap, like as he slides underneath him, just snap German suplexes him. A real sick looking move. I liked it a lot. But then this led into the actual the sunset power bomb from the apron to the floor that we've been teasing the entire tournament. Finally gets hit. And this is one of the moves that I really pop for every time I've ever seen it in wrestling. The first time I ever saw it was back in the ECW era. Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn had these great series of matches, like this feud, and it was one of those matches, and it was a sunset powerbomb through like a table, but that's one of those ones where I as me and my buddy, back in '97 or whenever it was, I mean, I jumped up and I was doing the JR, like, oh my god, that guy's dead, he's got a family, somebody stop the match. So anytime I see one, because it's such a hard looking move, I mean, Ishimori he takes it hard and he's just laying out. Then you get another kind of count out tease from this move. I mean, what did you think of the sunset powerbomb, Tony?
I thought it was nasty. I cringe every time somebody takes it. It's just such a hard impact, coming over when the guy's got the momentum coming over the rope like that. And so, but it was a good looking spot though, man. He's been teasing it and he finally hit it. And they both went hard on this, man. They hit each other with a lot of hard spots, a lot of hard moves. And this Ishimori had a nice cravat where he was delivering knees to the head. I thought was a good spot. And Ishimori, he's got a good style, man. His moves, he's short, squat, powerful, lots of snap in his suplexes and moves. And when he gets him in a submission, man, that jacked physique of his, I never really kind of thought about it this way before, but like, being so jacked like that, when he puts him in a submission, he can flex his muscles and make it look like he's really, really cranking on it, and like, look at I'm all blown up trying to crank on this submission, So it looks good, and he had some good spots like that here as well.
A couple other spots I noticed that really stood out to me. Hiromu was on the apron, Ishimori was on the floor. And Hiromu did like a jumping shotgun drop kick from the apron to the floor. Just brutal looking. And then towards the end of the match, Ishimori hits a reverse Hurricane Rana on Hiromu, and he just kind of snaps back and does it. I mean, it's one of the worst. It's just so dangerous looking. I don't know how you can do it safely, because you got to basically the guy taking the move has to flip back onto his head. And what happens is, so Ishimori hits out on Hiromu, and then Hiromu just pops up and goes to hit it on Ishimori, but Ishimori kind of rotates too far forward, and when Ishimori, gets flipped back for the reverse Hurricane Rana, it just looks like he took it wrong. Like it really looked bad. I mean, it looked very ugly. But it was safe. I mean, basically both guys were down. They did like one of those 10 counts. So if you're outside of the ring, you got a 20 count. If you're inside the ring, it's just like boxing. It's like both guys are out. You got a 10 count to get back up to your feet. And they really didn't even get up to their feet. I think Hiromu got up to all fours, and then the ref stopped the count. And then this thing blew my mind. Kevin Kelly called Red Shoes the finest official in all of wrestling, and he did that with a straight face. And that's
unconscionable. I
don't know how you do that. Red Shoes is like one of the. I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna call him a terrible ref, but he's always trying to get himself over. And I'm not calling Red Shoes the best ref in wrestling. I mean, maybe the most over ref in wrestling. I'll give him that. Okay, so basically, here's how the match kind of wrapped up. You had Ishimori hitting he went to go do like a 450 splash, and Hiromu got the knees up, and Ishimori ate the knees like right in the stomach. And then you had Hiromu, I don't know how to describe it, kind of like a butterfly, like maybe like a double underhook sit out pile driver is kind of what he did to him. And then right into the D, and then he was getting choked out from the D, did not tap. And then Hiromu gets up, hits the time bomb, gets the 1, 2, 3 for the pin. Hiromu wins. I mean, the crowd just goes wild. I mean, do you have anything else you wanted to add on this match, Tony?
Just that this is an outstanding match, an absolutely outstanding match. I've said it several times at other matches throughout this tournament, but I can't say enough good things about this. Yeah, I was just absolutely from start to finish. These two guys went out there and just killed it. They tore this place down. So Hiromu is just such a tough guy. And he takes such an ass kicking. And again, I said it before, but Ishimori with the power moves and just that snap he's got that snap, that so many of those other squat, compact wrestlers have had. It just really makes him stand out. So I thought this was an outstanding match.
Yeah, and in a tournament of great matches, such a stacked tournament in terms of talent, they really saved the best for last. I mean, this was the best match of the tournament, at least in my opinion. I liked some of the other competitors more. We'll get into that in just a moment, but I thought this was just a great match. And
it really benefited too from the build of being the finals of such a good tournament. That through such a good tournament, you knew going into this match that this finals was going to burn this place down, man, and it did. So yeah, I was very, very pleased with this match.
And so we have now found out Dave Meltzer, the god of pro wrestling reporting, has rated this match 5.5 stars. That's out of 5 stars. If you get a 5-star match, that is tremendous. I mean, anytime someone gets a 5-star match, that is the biggest deal. That's the highest honor you can receive from Dave Meltzer. And now these past few years, we've had a few matches get above the 5 stars. I think they've all been in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So to see Hiromu and Taiji Ishimori get that 5.5 stars, I think it's deserved. I mean, in one of the best matches of the year.
You can say wall-to-wall action with that Hiromu dropkick, though.
Oh,
you can say wall-to-wall action because you can say that.
Literal wall-to-wall action. But yeah, if run, don't walk to go see this match. Just go grab your credit card, go get your PayPal, go sign up for NJPW World and watch this match. It was so
this
good.
This whole tournament benefit from the build, man. Watch it from the beginning because they killed it the whole way through.
Yeah, so we've done it. Congratulations, Dr. Tiger Mask. We did it. We went through the entire Best of the Super Juniors tournament. What are your final thoughts? I mean, who impressed you? Who didn't impress you? Favorite matches. What did you think of this tournament?
Well, just being that this was the first Best of Super Juniors that I actually watched from start to finish, all the way through all the tournament matches, I was impressed with everybody. These are the premier junior heavyweight wrestlers in the world. These guys, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of potential out there in that junior 205 live, whatever division, junior heavyweight division. There's a lot of potential out there in the world, but New Japan is putting these guys out there, giving them a forum to really go out there and show what they can do. And all of these guys delivered. But, I was really impressed with, I thought Yo did well. Sho, by the end of the tournament, I'm all in for Sho. I know he's the more accepted, like he's going to be the breakout, but I always liked Yo better. But Sho was coming. Dragon Lee was in this tournament with a partially torn quad doing the things that he was doing. That is amazing to me. And to see Hiromu go all the way through and take it at the end, that guy is over, killing it. Hiromu Ospreay is going to be great. This whole thing was amazing. This tournament was 5.5 stars for me, man. I don't know about star ratings, but it was however many you want to give it to say it was absolutely excellent. I won't argue with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at it historically, over the last several years, the junior division hasn't been treated quite as well as the heavyweight division because, obviously the heavyweights, that's your main event. That's your most important belt. So obviously your Okadas and your Tanahashis and all that those are the main stars. But these last few years they've been building up. They've started to build up that junior division and just the amount of talent. With the Ospreay and the Marty Scurll and the Dragon Lee and all and Hiromu and all those guys. I thought this tournament, G1 is like the premier tournament of all of wrestling, like in the entire world over the year. And I think this Best of the Super Juniors 25 really has elevated the Best of the Super Juniors tournament up to another level. Like I think next year you'll probably see more of these shows being aired live with commentary. Not so many of these hard cam shows that we got this year. So to me, the ones that impressed me, Dragon Lee, of course, one of my favorite wrestlers in this tournament, and the fact that he's kind of become the spiritual successor to Shibata, in this tournament, giving the shout out to Shibata, doing the the Shibata, like, sitting in the middle of the ring, the cross-legged pose, and doing his spots, like the PK kick and all that stuff. So all these matches with Dragon Lee, I just think you can't recommend them enough. Anything Dragon Lee's in, this guy was just a global superstar. If somebody, CMLL should be holding on to this guy for dear life, and everybody else should be trying to snap him up as hard as they could. But Hiromu just, top of the mark. Everybody stepped up. I mean, Taguchi stepped up. That's crazy. I mean, to me, a couple guys weren't. I thought you could have replaced, like, maybe Chris Sabin, maybe Flip Gordon. But even then, even those guys, as you got to the end of the tournament, with the build up over the tournament and the crowd getting into everybody, just an outstanding tournament. And like you said, you can just come and watch this last match. You can just come and watch these last couple nights. But I think all these matches are great. They had a couple of nights where they're out in the sticks and the crowd's a little quieter, but just a great best of the Super Juniors tournament. So now we will look forward to the Dominion card. This will be happening on Saturday, June 9th. We are currently recording this episode Thursday, June 7th. And we will be coming back on Sunday, the 10th, to record another episode to review Dominion, but we're going to preview Dominion right now. This is going to happen Saturday, June 9th at the Osaka Joe Hall. Match, we'll just go down the entire card. We'll start match 1. This is going to be a 60-minute time limit for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship. El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru, the champions, versus Yo and Sho Roppongi 3K, the challengers. And basically, Desperado and Kanemaru are the 57th champions. And Yo and Sho are, again, they've been pushed pretty hot through the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. What do you think, Tony? Do you think Yo and Sho are going to take these belts off of Desperado and Kanemaru?
Well, it depends on what hat I'm wearing when I'm looking at it. Because if I'm wearing my Booker hat looking at it, Roppongi's had those junior belts a few times. Maybe it doesn't come off a Suzuki Gun. But if I'm sitting here with my fan cap on, Suzuki Gun or some punks, Yo and Sho are my boys. I want them to whip that ass. So let's go Yo and Sho. And two, I mean, Desperado had a good showing in that tournament, but Yo and Sho really stood out as well. And I just like them better. So I'll be pulling for Yo and Sho in that one.
Yeah, so the way I'm looking at it is like Yo and Sho are getting, they have their little singles pushes in the tournament, but they're getting pushed. Like, they got their little, the Shocker T-shirt, the Roppongi 3K hand symbol T-shirt that they got. They both got pretty heavy pushes in the tournament, and also, I mean, the way Desperado played in the tournament, I'm feeling almost like he's poised for a singles run. So maybe it makes sense to take the belt off of him. So the way I'm looking at it, I think Yo and Sho, I think Roppongi 3K are going to take these belts, especially now that you don't have the Young Bucks in the junior tournament anymore. So these are kind of like the junior tag aces in Yo and Sho. So I mean, I could see it either way, but personally, I'm going to pick Yo and Sho on this one. And then we'll go to match 2. This is a 30-minute time limit match, tag match. Juice Robinson, David Finlay versus Jay White and Yoshihashi. So basically, kind of a filler match, but what I think is happening here is they're setting up a potential IWGP US title match for the Cow Palace show. So I'm going to guess they're setting up Jay White, the champion, versus Juice Robinson as the challenger. I mean, do you see it any other way than that, Tony?
No, Juice is building a following. Juice is, getting over as the baby face, and Jay White, beating Kenny for that U.S. belt earlier in the year. I think that's a good direction to go for the Cow Palace. So I could see that happening. And, they use these we've said it before, they use these tag matches to throw those teasers out there. So I hope we see something like that, because they need to announce some more matches for that Cow Palace card. So
they definitely do.
This points in that direction.
Yeah, I think Dominion, the fallout of Dominion is going to be all like Cow Palace, basically. And then we'll go to match 3, another 30-minute limit tag match. It's going to have Tomohiro Ishii and Yano Toro versus Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. As we saw, it was set up early on the night of the finals of the Best of the Super Juniors, and basically kind of a continuation of Yano and Suzuki's feud. This could go either way. It's hard to pick how this is going to go. I mean, flip a coin, I probably would go with Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, who do you think is going to win this one, Tony?
I would go with the team of Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. as well. I really enjoy that tag team. I think they have a good sort of dynamic, this technical asshole Zack Sabre and this wild man psychopath Minoru Suzuki. They make a good team, and I'll take all the Ishii I can get. So, that guy's just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an entertaining match. I love all four guys involved. But, just an undercard tag match. It's going to be fun. So we'll move on to match 4. And this will be a 60-minute limit, never open weight championship 3-way match. You don't get a lot of 3-way matches in New Japan. I think since I've been watching since 2013, this might be the first 3-way match. I know they had I want to say there was a junior 3-way match.
There was a 4-way at Wrestle Kingdom, correct?
You get 4 ways, but this is so like I think the last 3-way was maybe the Wrestle Kingdom from 2012, and that was like Prince Devitt, Low Key, and Kota Ibushi in this crazy like 3-way for I believe it was for the junior championship, and now I think that may be the last 3-way match that they've had the deal before this. So Goto is the 17th never open weight champion. This match could go any way. I mean, I'm kind of expecting Goto to retain, but to be honest, I would kind of be elated to see Taichi win it. I don't know why, man. Taichi, he's kind of a shit-eating hill, but the guy's kind of grown on me. And he's got Miyaho Abe with him, so the more I can see Miyaho Abe, the better. That's just daily life lessons there for anybody who's listening to this. Who do you think is going to win this one, Tony?
I got to pick Goto.
Yeah,
I'm going with Goto.
Yeah, and as American fans, Michael Elgin is not the most loved wrestler right now, so maybe they put it on Elgin, but I don't see that happening. So yeah, I think smart money's on Goto, but me personally, I'm going to be pulling for Taichi on that one. We'll go to match 5, 60-minute limit, IWGP Tag Team Championship. The champions, Evil and Sonata versus the Young Bucks, which is Nick Jackson, also known as the Ugly One, and Matt Jackson, known as the Cute One. So Evil and Sonata are the 79th IWGP Tag Team Champions, and this is the first time that the Young Bucks are going for the heavyweight championship.
The Bucks are big now.
They are big in Japan. I mean, who do you think is going to pull this one off?
Man, I've been listening to some speculation about this match, and I really want to go for the Young Bucks, man. But again, it's like, am I wearing my rooting for hat or am I wearing my Booker hat? And like, if I'm wearing my Booker hat, I think Evil and Sonata, they need the belts, and the Bucks don't. But I think the Bucks could win. I would like for the Bucks to win. I like them better, and then they go to the Cow Palace holding those belts, and that maybe sets up a big match for the Cow Palace. But I don't know. Do you go right back to the rematch if the Bucks win? Do they? I know New Japan doesn't go to like immediate rematches, but then who's the next team for them at the Cow Palace? So I think maybe even Sonata come away keeping them because the Bucks don't need them, and they're not, those fully committed to New Japan guys. So
the way I'm looking at it, and I agree with you, Evil and Sonata, I feel like they need those belts. I mean, I think it's great that they have those belts, and you have this established team that's running shit in New Japan because they're always there. And if the Young Bucks win, they're not always there, but the Young Bucks contract is coming due at the end of this year, and if you're looking to keep these guys on the roster, you want to show them, hey, we believe in the Young Bucks, and we believe in the Young Bucks as heavyweights. So maybe you give them that, and as you said, you got the Young Bucks coming into the Cow Palace as the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. That means a lot, and that might sell more tickets. They haven't sold all those tickets yet. So if you have a big, who knows? There's a lot of tag teams you could put them in there with, but you have the Young Bucks versus some marquee tag team in the Cow Palace. Maybe that moves a couple more tickets. So me personally, it's half a column A, half a column B. I don't know, man. I'm gonna go Young Bucks. I think Young Bucks. This will be their like coronation as heavyweights is the way I'm looking at it. But so you're going Evil Sonata. I'm gonna go Young Bucks. So either way, the podcast will be correct. One way or the other, we will be right about this one. And we're going to move right on to match 6. This will be a 30-minute limit match. This is 6-man tag team match with the superstar 3-man team of Rey Mysterio Jr., the Beast God Jushin Thunder Liger, and the Ace Hiroshi Tanahashi versus the Bullet Club team of Marty Scurll, Cody, and Hangman Page. This is just a great match. I would be elated to be in the audience for this match. Just see Mysterio, Liger, Tanahashi together against guys like Scurll, Cody, and Page. Page has really upped his stock in the last year. But the way I'm looking at this match, we were teased the Liger versus Mysterio match before, and now they're on the team. Is there some sort of friction there maybe on the team? Who knows? Marty Scurll, he's just trying to get a win in this match. But what I'm really looking at here is Tanahashi and Cody going to have a program. Because this is the kind of thing where I would think, these two guys would pair off in this match. So maybe you could be building to a Cody versus Tanahashi match. And that could be very exciting. It's very exciting for Cody. And it gives Tanahashi something of worth, of note to do, even though he's not currently in a belt hunt or anything. So what are you feeling in this match, Tony?
I think I agree with everything that you said about the lineup here. This is going to be a phenomenal match. And if they are going to go to a Cody Tanahashi program, that's something that I'm all in for. I'm all in for. But I feel like if that's what you're going to do, Cody's got to go over that match. It'll be, that credibility builder. Tanahashi's the forever ace. Eternally loved Tanahashi, and here comes the American Nightmare, beats him. If he was to beat Tanahashi too, that does a lot for Cody's stock worldwide, picking up a win over Tanahashi. So we'll see where it goes, man. Hopefully that would be really cool.
And you're absolutely correct on that. If Cody can get into that program with Tanahashi and get the win, that just elevates you light years. Any win over Tanahashi is the biggest win of anyone's career. Basically,
let's not sleep on Mysterio and Scurll. That's a program that they've been teasing. He's been calling him out, and Marty Scurll versus Rey Mysterio could be phenomenal. So
yeah, so that's the other thing I was looking at. So we teased the Mysterio Liger thing, so we still might get that at the Cow Palace, but we might also get, as you say, Mysterio versus Scurll, and so I think that's you got these kind of 3 potential matches that this match is building towards. So, it's just a very talent-wise, it's just stacked. The star power, at least on the Mysterio, Liger, Tanahashi side, is unparalleled. And then you have the Bullet Club team, which Cody's doing the best work of his career. Scurll is doing the best work of his career. And so is Hangman Page. Hangman Page is still on the rise. But, I think it's going to be a real fun match. And I think it's definitely going to be building towards the G1 special in San Francisco at the Cow Palace. So now we'll move on to match 7. This is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match. The champion, Will Ospreay, versus the challenger, the best of the Super Junior 25 winner, Hiromu Takahashi. Ospreay is the 80th IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. Hiromu has just won his first Best of the Super Juniors tournament. So this one's hard to call. I mean, what do you think, Tony? Who do you think is going to win this match?
This match is a coin flip to me, man, because the best from my little research and, throughout this tournament, the best of the Super Juniors doesn't always win that title shot. So, there's a good chance Hiromu could lose, even though he's been looking great and he's clearly over with the crowd. But Ospreay's been a dominant champion and he's been holding on to it. So, and he's great as well. So this is really a coin flip for me. I think it's going to be an outstanding match. I'm really excited after this tournament to see what happens with these guys. So, I mean, if I have to pick,
gun to your head. Gun to your head.
I'll pick Takahashi, but it wouldn't surprise me if Ospreay retained. So I got to go. Takahashi rides that wave coming out of the tournament.
Yeah, so this is the way I'm looking at it. So if you look at like the G1 climax, you got your big tournament in the summer, and the winner gets a title shot at Wrestle Kingdom. So like all the way in January, you're winning in August, and you have a title shot in January. So there's plenty of space to build up either way, who you want to win, the champ to retain or the challenger to win. But this is, you won the Best of the Super Juniors on June 4th, and you're getting your title shot on June 9th. Like less than 5 days later, you're getting that title shot. So, I mean, to me, it's hard for me to believe that Hiromu is going to get that big a win and be riding that big a wave and not take the championship, like not get this win over Ospreay. But I mean, I've watched Gato. I watch Gato like a hawk. Like I want to study everything Gato does because I want to know. Like I want to be able to predict what he's going to do next, and you just never can. But I try in vain. And basically, to me, Ospreay is like the junior version of Okada. Like that's the way he pushes him. Like he is like the junior Rainmaker almost, where you're not gonna beat him. So I could see Ospreay going all the way to Wrestle Kingdom as the champion, but that the wave that Takahashi is riding, that Hiromu, I mean, he is the most popular junior, at least the most popular junior in the company. It's a coin flip, just like you said. It's a coin flip, but gun to my head, I'm probably taking. I think I got to take Hiromu. I don't know how you have that much momentum and have him get stopped five days later. But
Well, but then, what does that mean for the guys then that beat Ospreay in that tournament? Because we've said guys like Ishimori that beat Ospreay, he didn't win the tournament, but his title shot is all but sewn up because he beat Ospreay. If Hiromu beats Ospreay here, what does that mean for Ishimori and
yeah? So, like you said, then that makes sense too. That maybe Ospreay will keep it because you have those guys that beat Ospreay in the tournament who are going, hey, I'm owed a title shot now because I pinned the champion. But I personally also think that even if Hiromu wins, that you can still say, hey man, I pinned the champion while he was still the champion, so I'm owed a shot. So I think you can go both ways there. And ladies and gentlemen, I do go both ways. So that takes us to match 8, the semi-final main event of the night. This was a 60-minute time limit for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. It was the champion Tetsuya Naito versus the Alpha Chris Jericho. Naito is the 18th Intercontinental Champion. I mean, I think pretty much everyone's thinking that Naito is going to go over. Naito should go over because Chris Jericho is probably not going to be there very long. The question is Jericho going to work the Cow Palace? Is he going to be at the G1 special? You got a lot of people saying that he won't work on an American show that's not WWE, like on American soil. Who do you think is going to win this one, Tony?
I think Naito's going over here. I think all these matches are just an example of Jericho wanting to come over, and he wants to work with these guys. His friendship with Gato. Naito's a big star and a good worker. Jericho wants to come over and work with him, but I think he wants to put him over. So I feel like Naito's going over. There's no real reason for Jericho to go over in this match. And I really feel like this match is going to be kind of an entertaining brawl type. We've seen Jericho with the ring bell attack and all that stuff. So I think they're gonna do some cool things on the outside and some brawling spots. So, but I think Naito's going over. So Naito's my pick, and tranquilo, baby.
Yeah, and I don't know if we were talking about it on the podcast or just before we start recording, but you were mentioning how Kevin Kelly was really pushing the fact that, like,
way back.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, way back earlier in the tournament, like night 1 or 2 even. It was very early, but one of the first English commentary that Kevin Kelly did, he made it a point during a Suzuki tag match to bring up what does Suzuki think about Jericho's actions attacking Naito and all of that with the ring bell and such. And I just thought, Jericho's coming over here to New Japan. He probably wants to work with just the guys he wants to work with. That's probably the deal. Like, hey, I just want to work with this guy, and this guy. And maybe that next Jericho match is a Suzuki match. They don't just throw things out there for no reason on commentary. So, I'd be, after Naito here, I'd be down for a Jericho Suzuki match coming out of this.
I would 100% be up for Suzuki versus Jericho. Just the two crusty old veterans that know every trick in the book. Just the dirt, to steal a phrase, the dirtiest players in the game. That would be, to me, a great match to see. And, maybe they can persuade Omega, or correction. Well, let me start that over. Maybe they can persuade Jericho to wrestle at the G1 special in San Francisco at the Cow Palace. And if you could get that crowd to see Jericho versus Suzuki, I think that moves some tickets. I mean, if I know I'm going to be able to see that match, and I'm in the area and I can get to that, or I can, if I can get to that show, I want to see that match. I think Jericho versus Suzuki, that would float my boat. I'll tell you that much.
It would look great on Access TV.
Oh yeah, I'd like to hear JR and Barnett call that one.
I would like to hear JR and Barnett butcher that match. I would really like to hear them butcher that match.
All of a sudden, JR can't remember what Chris Jericho's name is. Like, he's mispronouncing it. Anyway, so, yeah, I think we're both on the same page. Smart money, bet on Naito. I mean, there's no reason not to bet on Naito for this one. I would love to see some kind of crazy upset and Jericho to actually take the IC belt. I mean, if we're being honest, if you're paying attention, Naito does not want that belt. And maybe this is the way to get that belt off of Naito, just so you could flip it to somebody else at the G1 special. Maybe that's the thinking. But, if you're going to bet me $100, I'm putting my money on Naito. So, and that will move us on to the main event, match 9. This is no time limit. Best 2 out of 3 falls for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, versus the best bout machine, Kenny Omega. I mean, Okada is the 65th champion, the 65th IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Just a historic run. Has beat everybody. The longest run, the most defenses in a run. This guy has the company on his back. He is the chosen one. He is protected. He is pushed. The rocket has been strapped to him, and deservedly so. If you can argue, if you're going to make any argument right now, any sane, rational thinking wrestling fan in the world right now, if you're going to make an argument for who the best wrestler in the world is right now, there are maybe 3 or 4 people you can argue. And the top 2 of those, I don't see how, with any metric, you can make any argument that it's not either Kazuchika Okada or Kenny Omega. And as we were talking earlier about star ratings, about the Dave Meltzer star ratings. Dave Meltzer has been the premier wrestling reporter and reviewer, of wrestling matches for 20 years, 30 years. I think since the 80s. This man, he's like the Ebert in Roper like Siskel and Ebert of wrestling reviewers. So, if you get a 5-star rating out of Dave Meltzer, that's it. This is the pinnacle of wrestling. And Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega have had 3 matches. And the first 2 matches each got 6 stars. They broke the 5-star rating system. That's how good they were. As far as Dave Meltzer is concerned, and as far as a lot of wrestling fans are concerned, myself included, quite possibly the 2 best wrestling matches that have ever occurred, recorded, that you could actually view. I mean, maybe, Santo had one in Mexico City that never got filmed on TV or on camera. But you're looking at the 2 best wrestlers in the world, no time limit, 2 out of 3 2 out of 3 falls. We're quite possibly, at least an hour, I think. At least an hour, and we were quite possibly looking at like a 90-minute match. Tony Tiger Mask. Your expert opinion, who wins this match?
Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega. I'm picking Kenny Omega. I've wanted Kenny to win that belt since the first time these guys wrestled. I think it's time for Kenny to beat him. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it twice on Sunday. Kenny Omega.
I have to agree. We love Okada. Like I said, a historic reign. The ace, the current ace of New Japan.
I agree. I think Okada is the best wrestler in the world. He's been the champion the longest. He's had the widest breadth of diversity of opponents. He draws money wise. The guy is just amazing, and even in the tag matches, he goes out there in the tag matches and he puts on a show. He doesn't phone it in. Like, the dude's seasoned, but I want Kenny to be the champion. I just want Kenny to beat him. I thought it was just been a good rivalry. And in that rivalry, it's not they've gone back and forth, but Kenny's never been able to get that one up. And that's the story that's building. And this is that pinnacle right here.
And like we brought up in previous episodes, all these 3 previous matches were the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, versus the cleaner, Kenny Omega. And now it's the Rainmaker versus the best bout machine, Kenny Omega. This is pure babyface Kenny Omega. This is Kenny Omega cutting promos in perfectly fluent Japanese. I too. I have to believe. Every time this is it. This is Kenny Omega's time. When Kenny Omega was brought into the company, AJ Styles was still the leader of Bullet Club. And Kenny Omega was basically a mid-card. He was a junior heavyweight, and he was kind of a comedy act. When he was in DDT, he was kind of a more of a comedy act wrestler. And they brought him in. He was the cleaner, but he wasn't like he wasn't like just shot up to superstar status. He came in and he did the little, I'm gonna sweep, and I got my broom, and I'm the cleaner. And then WWE came in and they scooped up AJ and Gallows and Anderson and Nakamura, and New Japan was at a loss. They had basically just been raided. New Japan basically would do 1-year contracts. They'd always be up in January. So basically after Wrestle Kingdom, then you go, okay, we're going to give you another year contract. So all 4 of these guys just got snatched up, and these were like, at least in Nakamura and Styles, these were like 2 of your pillars of New Japan. You could afford to lose Gallows and Anderson, but basically you had lost the core of the Bullet Club, and you needed a leader, and nobody knew who the leader was going to be, and Kenny Omega got the tap on the shoulder, and they said, hey, it's time for you, bring in the lefty. You're up, man. You got to be the leader now. So they said, okay, you're no longer a junior heavyweight. You're a heavyweight. And this man was told, you're basically going to be one of the 4 main stars of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he stepped up. And he is, in my opinion, like Tony, you believe Okada is the best wrestler in the world. I believe Kenny Omega is the best wrestler in the world. I think we both have valid arguments there, but I think this man deserves it, and he's so in demand, like you gotta believe that WWE is just backing up the Brinks truck to try to steal this guy away from New Japan, especially if his contract's coming up as well. So, I mean, you got to show him that you believe. You got to show him like, no, man, you're the top. You're one of the top guys. We want you here. So I'm gonna go with Kenny Omega. And I mean, I think Mrs. Omega's baby boy is gonna come away with the title on after this match. But I mean, I think we can expect nothing less than a 5-star match, probably 5.5, 6-star match out of these guys.
I would agree with.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I would agree with you that Kenny is the best wrestler in the world if he had that world championship reign.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to have this lengthy, crazy reign like Okada has, but a good, solid world championship title reign. And that changes the argument for me. But right now, it's just a fact that Okada's the champion. Kenny's not. That puts Kenny over Okada for me.
And the other thing is,
over Kenny for me.
The other thing that you got to look at is you've got this American show you're trying to sell out, and you've got the CEO New Japan show coming up a little bit later that you want to sell out. So if you have, world champion Kenny Omega coming over there defending his belt or whatever, I definitely think it should be Omega. So I mean, regardless, Dominion is going to be the biggest show we've had all year since the Wrestle Kingdom. You got Wrestle Kingdom, you got Dominion, then the whole G1, and then back on to Wrestle Kingdom. So Dominion is almost kind of the equivalent of SummerSlam if you're a WWE fan. Like one of like the big 4 pay-per-views of the year. So it's happening June 9th. If you don't have New Japan or NJPW World, get on it. I mean, you're not going to want to miss this show because on the Saturday and Sunday, you're going to hear everybody talking about what is quite possibly going to be the best match of all time. I mean, I'm looking for something like Ric Flair versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat level, because I remember that vividly from when I was a child. These 2 out of 3 falls between Ric Flair and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But yeah, so that's our preview of Dominion. I mean, what do you say, Tony? Should we take this ship back into port? You feel like it's about time to wrap this bad boy up?
Absolutely. I'm sitting over here trembling with anticipation for Dominion, so I can't wait for this show. And this tournament was absolutely phenomenal. So bring on Dominion and let's see what comes next, man.
Yeah. So where can the lovely people find you, Tony?
Get at me on Twitter and Instagram, Tony Tiger Mask with capital T's, Radio Strong Style. We're out there, so everybody, I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, so I mean, as always, you can follow us on Twitter at R Strong Style. That'd be the letter R and the word Strong Style. On Instagram, we are at Radio Strong Style. We're also now on Tumblr, so please follow us on Tumblr because I got 0 followers right now, and I need somebody on that bad boy. But also just search Radio Strong Style on Tumblr. That'll come up pretty quickly. And if you want to email us any questions, drink recipes, love letters, tasteful nudes, fan fictions, whatever you want to email us, you can do so at radiostrongstyle@gmail.com. And you can also check us out on YouTube. We've got a couple episodes up on YouTube. We try to stay up on that if you're more of a YouTube person than a podcast person. But ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for listening tonight, and I'd like to thank you for being such a classy audience. Not like that last audience we had. That last audience was total scum. I mean, real low lives. Not like the class act group of ladies and gentlemen we have here tonight. But now we bid you good night, and as always, I'd like to leave you with the words of the warrior poet Satoshi Kojima. Hanma comes back to pro wrestling soon. I'm glad he is my best friend. I also want fans from all over the world to be pleased. Let's eat bread for celebration. This has been Radio Strong Style. Don't forget to tip your waitress.